All right. Thankfully, we have some of the headlines here, and we will start with the daily graphic, and this is captured by myjoyonline.com. 3 High Court judges sacked by President Mahama for stated misbehavior. President John Mahama has directed the removal of 3 justices of the High Court from office on grounds of stated misbehavior. Organized labor demo rocks all capitals today, so all is set for the nationwide demonstration by organized labor today, Wednesday. Workers nationwide are demonstrating to voice their concerns over the Energy Sector Levies Act 2015, as well as hikes in electricity and water tariffs. Akufo-Addo questions President's discretion over Gitmo detainees. That was in the news, in our news at 6. The new Patriotic Party presidential candidate, Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, has questioned President Mahama's discretion in the deal that brought 2 former detainees held by America in Guantanamo Bay to Ghana. And this morning, there's a response from government. I'll bring you that angle of this story as well. President hints of more reshuffle. Paper reports that the Flagstaff House has hinted of more ministerial changes in the coming days as President John Mahama released the first batch of nominees of the much-anticipated reshuffle on Tuesday. Our guest, one of our guests yesterday on the AM show, George Lowe, says it's the target really is to win the 2016 election. The Daily Guide newspaper now, Mahama fires 6 ministers. That's the angle they decided to bring this morning. President Mahama on Tuesday asked 6 ministers from his administration in the latest ministerial reshuffle that swept away the Interior Minister, Marco Wayongo, and 4 regional ministers from their positions. 3 judges sacked. That story also featured here in the Daily Guide newspaper. And Al-Qaeda foot soldiers in Ghana illegal, attributed to the leader of the opposition, NPP. We move on to the final newspaper now. IMF splits Labour government as big demo erupt today. So as the dose of bitter policy prescriptions outlined by the International Monetary Fund continues against Ghanaians, especially workers, 8 labour unions are threatening to shut down the country through an indefinite strike. Also, Mahama's Gitmo decision illegal, according to Nana Akufo-Addo. 2 nabbed for defrauding in Chief of Staff's name. 2 young men were told tried to set the Nkwantanan MCE Franklin Anku against the Chief of Staff Julius Deborah, and they're in the grips of the Accra Regional Police Command. Details of that you'll find in the newspaper. We move to the General Telegraph now. Prosper Bani's new Interior Minister. Akufo-Addo faults Mahama over Gitmo saga, and Kumasi Mayor fires back at accusers, denies wrongdoing in Ratri Park project. So the Mayor of Kumasi, Kujabonso, has described as baseless the allegation of some assembly members that he has misappropriated funds meant for the construction of the Ratri Park in the Garden City. We move on to the Business and Financial Times newspaper. The last headlines that we would look at: investors lap up treasury bonds. Investment in Government of Ghana backed security witnessed a 4.4 billion cedis rise in 12 months, with the country's commercial banks leading a pack of investors that have increased their exposure to government's treasury. Okay, workers test Mahama's resolve. So thousands of workers will Wednesday pour onto streets in the various regional capitals to register their displeasure against recent increases in utility tariffs and fuel prices, which they argue has compounded harsh economic conditions. So these are some of the headlines you find in some of the major newspapers today as you hit the news stands. We will go to myjoyonline.com and quickly run through some of the stories there. Edwin Appiah has his lab and the carpet bombing of the Ghanaian conscience. He writes pretty well. You might want to take a look at his opinion. Also, labor groups hold mammoth demonstration today over fuel utility hikes. Commander MP doubts PhD status of late Mills's brother. So the Member of Parliament for the Commander is asking constituents to demand evidence of the doctorate degree of the brother of the late President Mills, Dr. Samuel Mills. Is this necessary? I mean, okay. So new seed varieties not reaching Africa's small farmers, according to a study. Africa's small farmers, more than half of whom buy their seed from local informal markets, need access to improved seeds that can yield more food and cope with climate change. Still on myjoyline.com, Twitter says widespread outages resolved, blames glitchy software update. Not sure where this one is going, but if you're interested in the story, you can read details of this when you hit the site. PAC, that's the Public Accounts Committee of Parliament, angry over Wampa absence from sitting. So on Tuesday, the committee expressed disapproval of failure of the Central Bank Governor Kofi Wampa to show up at sit-ins. Sit-in continues today. We'll see if he does show up. Baba Jamal wins Akwatia NDC primaries. And the last story we'll look at here. Oh, that's an opinion. GES in 2015. Recap of major activities, events, and mishaps. Find time to read. So these are some of the stories that you find when you log on to myjoyonline.com. But this is the biggest story that we're all looking at today, the demonstration which is happening across the country. We're definitely going to go on the grounds to gauge the mood. We'll bring you all the live updates first here on our show. Let's move on to City FM Online now. NDC's cheap politics seeking to destroy PNC, that's according to Bernard Mona. Absentee judge Azuma sacked Obimpe out for corruption. Also, Baba Jamal wins Akwatia NDC primary. Speaker must resign for refusing to take presidential oath. So this argument seemed to be coming back. Can we open this particular story up and see who's saying that? Remembering the absence of the presidents, the vice presidents, and Mrs. Georgina Wood, the speaker was supposed to have sworn the oath to become president in the absence of the president, but he refused. This case went to court, and this story says that one of the applicants in the Supreme Court case that ruled that the Speaker of Ghana's Parliament, Edward Doajaho, erred in refusing to take the presidential oath of office is asking him to resign. The legal practitioner, Dr. Kweku Asari, says the speaker must step down since he violated the country's constitution. We see where this one would go. Will he react to it? All right, let's go back and see if we can finish the stories that we're looking at from this site. In the meantime, I'm still receiving your messages on WhatsApp. Let me read this one. Costa Paga is sending me a personal one, but he says, let's stop the lies now or else we will one day say something that will be true and Ghanaians will not take us serious. Costa Paga, thanks for the message. Still on WhatsApp, this one says, good morning, Mama. I do think this government is ready to listen to anybody. God save us from this administration, from Minuru Kumasi. Okay, are you saying not ready or is ready? Oh, okay. And you're asking for my personal opinion. So how do I see? Is that not a sign of a good leadership? Nanadu talk about the Gidmo detainees. My personal opinions right now in the absence of Roland doesn't matter on this. Isaac is watching us from somewhere. Isaac, thank you very much for the nice words that you say. But let's finish the stories here. Some of the headlines that we're looking at. Increasing transport fares would be unfair. The chief executive of the Chamber of Bulk Oil Distributors, Senyo Hossi, seem to be saying. I guess we're done here. You can log on to the site if you want to read more stories. But the final portal that we'll visit will be the BBC Africa. Muslim dies after shielding Christians. A very touching story. It says that a Muslim teacher who refused Al-Shabaab attackers' order to split from Christians when they attacked a bus in Kenya has died in surgery almost a month after he was shot. That's very sad, but it was a very brave, good thing that he did. May he rest in May his soul rest in peace. All right, let me hit on WhatsApp and bring you more messages before Benedict Owusu-Dankwa comes up with sports. This one says, good morning, Mama V. In fact, 2014 batch of newly trained teachers are seriously battling with their arrears since we began work and rendering us frustrating life and highly regrettable for choosing the profession. And this is from Kawawa Atirag in Bolga or in Boko. Hopefully I got your name right. So you're saying that the 2014 batch of newly trained teachers, there are still some arrears that have to be paid to you. Why are Ghanaians complaining about the detainees like that? Because Ghana is not the only country that accepted these detainees. Why everything Ghanaians want to bring politics into it? At least it will not help us. That's a message sent via WhatsApp from MYD in Bumbrugu. All right, this one says, please, my dear, where is your husband? I mean, Mr. Roland, or he's on leave. Abu Osman Eniendi. Roland is not available this week, but God willing, he'll be here on Monday. This one says, in July 2015, fuel prices went up to 18.5 Ghana cedis per gallon, and the drivers increased the fares. From then, fuel prices dropped to 12.5 Ghana cedis per gallon as of 3rd January without the first increase. This reduction lasted for more than 3 months. Now it moved from 12.5 to 16.0 per gallon from 3rd January, and these drivers want to increase the fares. Meanwhile, it is not even up to 18.5. Okay, so some serious analysis going on my Facebook platform. Sadly, the person didn't include a name to the message. And this final one I'll read for now, and then I'll come back to more messages. From Awendago in Garu says, I think the TEU strike should involve teacher trainees in their out program due to the fact that the government has neglected us. The government has refused to pay us back our feeding fees, which he promised to pay. And as a result, we are lying in our rooms, unable to go to school because we are hungry. And some of us who try teaching in class end up falling in front of the pupils due to hunger. Only God. All right, what I do know, though, is that today's demonstration is not for salary arrears or increments. It's just so the hikes in utility and also petroleum products is either reduced or taking off. We'll be gauging the mood across the country. Stay with us here on the AM show. In the meantime, Benedict Owusu-Dankwa is coming up with sports. The big highlights for me definitely will be the Australian Open. Shocker, shocker, shocker yesterday. Nadal couldn't move from the beginning, just the beginning, like day one. There's more details here. Stay with us right here on the AM show.